For a while now, Etsy has been pretty huge, but there's one issue. I keep hearing completely opposite opinions. One person says Etsy is completely dead and impossible for new sellers to compete, and then the next person claims they're making thousands of dollars every month selling digital products. So who's actually telling the truth? Instead of listening to opinions, I looked through 100 Etsy shops across different niches. I looked at successful shops, average shops, and shops that barely had any sales. I wanted to find the patterns, what successful sellers were doing differently, what struggling sellers were missing, and whether Etsy is actually worth doing in 2026. Now this first one might be super obvious, and so the first thing that surprised me wasn't how many sales these shops had, it was how long it took them to get there. Which brings me to the first thing I found out, which is the biggest shops didn't get there overnight. Most of the biggest shops had been around for years. Some shops might have had a little bit under 100, while others had several hundreds. At first, I thought maybe they had one product that went viral, but after looking through dozens of stores, that almost never seemed to be the case. Instead, they kept adding more products over time. Every listing became another opportunity for someone to find their shop. One product might only make a few sales a month, another might become a bestseller, but together they slowly built a real business. And that completely changed how I think about Etsy. Because the majority of beginners, including myself, uploaded a handful of products and just hoped that one took off. The successful sellers weren't relying on luck, they were building a catalog. And the biggest thing that I learned was that consistency matters far more than posting the perfect product. So another pattern that kept showing up over and over again was the second thing that I found out: the best sellers were surprisingly focused. The most successful shops weren't trying to sell everything. One shop focused almost entirely on wedding templates, another specialized in budgeting spreadsheets, another only sold teacher resources. At first, I didn't think that it mattered that much, but the more that I looked at it, the more it made sense. If you're shopping for wedding invitations, you're probably going to trust a store that only sells wedding products. And you'll probably trust the store less that sells wedding invitations, birthday invitations, gym products, wall art. The successful shops felt like brands instead of collections of random products. And because of this, customers immediately recognized what the store specialized in. And that seemed to build the majority of the trust before they even clicked on a listing. So instead of trying to sell to everyone, the biggest sellers became the best option for one specific audience. Now this third one was probably the biggest eye-opener, which was that most shops didn't look anything like the successful ones. For every successful shop, I found plenty that barely seemed to be active. Some only had a few listings, others had thumbnails that didn't stand out, and many hadn't uploaded a new product in months. And obviously, I can't know exactly why every single shop struggled, but comparing them side by side made one thing very clear. The successful shops looked finished. They had consistent branding, professional product images, detailed descriptions, and a lot of listings. The struggling shops looked like someone uploaded some products, waited for sales, nothing happened, then they quit. It made me realize that opening an Etsy shop isn't the hard part, building one is. Now this fourth one answers the exact question that you're probably asking. Is Etsy actually saturated? And after looking through 100 shops, I think people are asking the wrong question. Yes, some niches are absolutely crowded. If you're selling the exact same products as thousands of other people, standing out is going to be very difficult. But the thing is, people are still buying planners on Etsy, people are still buying spreadsheets, and people are still buying Canva wedding templates. The opportunity is still there. The only difference is that buyers have more choices than ever before. So your product actually has to stand out. Better design, better branding, or solving a specific problem can make a huge difference. So instead of asking, is Etsy saturated? I think the better question is, can I create something that's genuinely worth choosing? Finally, this brings me to my fifth point, which is Etsy worth it? After looking through 100 different shops, here's my conclusion. I think Etsy still is worth it in 2026, but I don't think it's a way to get rich quick and make thousands of dollars a month after 2 months of posting products like a lot of people claim. The people succeeding today aren't relying on shortcuts. They're consistently uploading, improving their products, and treating their shop like a real business. Now that doesn't mean every single person's gonna succeed, but that definitely means that people will succeed if they put in the work. Looking through 100 different Etsy shops, the successful ones, the bad ones, the average ones, completely shifted my perspective on Etsy. So instead of asking whether Etsy is dead, I started asking myself this question: what separates the sellers who succeed from the ones who don't? So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Make sure to watch this video right here, and as always, thank you for watching.